Hello, BQ Photo Training TV, where training is made possible, guys. All right, so I've been doing a couple videos lately and trying to show you how to get around doing certain things. Today, excuse me, need to take a sip of water. So refreshing. Well, today we're going to talk about making a commercial. Now, I do podcasting, okay? I'll do a Christian podcast. I post every Friday, and I'm currently on season 2, and I want to follow the same structure I've been following from season 1, where there's a 30-second to a 60-second commercial at the beginning of the podcast episode to let you know what it's talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to walk you through my standard on how I do things. So for example, the first thing I'm going to do is I save all of my stuff on an external hard drive called My Book. And my podcast is under a folder that says personal, yada, 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 season 2, episode 1. So within there, now let me see if I can open this up to show you. Okay. All right. So I label my folders as such. This is episode 1 of season 2. A church is a place to go. And my guest is with Cameron Schaefer. And within that folder, I have folders 1 through 6. Folder 1 is the resources, content recordings. That is the recorded episode we actually did. The music, any music that I pick for the commercial or for the show as a whole. The commercial itself, which would be the audio and the audiogram, show notes, and mixed recordings. The mixed, let me rename that while I'm at it. That way I know what it is. Mixed recordings. And I'm actually going to split my recording into 2 segments. And if you watch my video before that talked about setting up your podcast on Anchor to where you can have a commercial in between, go back and watch that video. All right. So now I'm going to open up a new window. And this is if you're on the Mac. If you're on the PC, I'm sorry. All right. So I'm going to open up a new window and I'm going to go to this untitled memory card here. And I'm going to go in there and I'm going to select the last folder because that is the last recordings we did. And I'm going to preview. Now I'm track 1. Good morning, podcast world. And I would like to welcome you to season 2. Okay. So I know for a fact that one goes with. I'm going to try to sample this one to see if I want the left and right or the BU. And I'll explain that in a second. So actually, I'll explain it now. So the LR, I use the Zoom H6 to record all of my phone calls, podcast, whatever. That is my go-to mixer, all that good stuff. I'm not a huge podcaster. I don't have all the cool bells and whistles.
Yeah, Brandon, my name is Cameron. I'm a pastor in EPC.
Okay, so that's very good audio. Now I'm going to sample this one. But I don't have much of the recording equipment that most cool podcasters have. I just have the Zoom H6 with the capsules and whatnot. So the BU and the LR is a product of that. I think the LR is...
Yeah, Brandon, my name is Cameron. I'm a pastor in EPC.
Okay, so now you can tell the LR and the BU is lower than the LR. I'm actually going to want LR, which is left and right track, and then I'm also going to want track 1, which is my recording, and I am going to drag that into my folder that says content recordings. Okay, and that's going to take a minute to go over there. But I'll go into more detail about the Zoom H6 and how I record the phone calls via the Zoom H6 on a separate video. But for right now, I just want to show you guys that you want to keep your podcast episodes, all of them, organized, neat, tidy, and tidy so you can know exactly where to go to get these. Okay. All right, and that's almost done. Now, the first thing I'm going to do once that makes it to the folder is track 1. I know for a fact that track 1 is mine. And I'm going to rename that Brandon Queen. And then I'm going to name Zoom 00 whatever 88LR. I'm going to rename that Cameron S. Schaefer. Okay. Now, I'm going to take both of these and I'm going to drag them in the window of Audacity. And Audacity, again, is a free program that allows you to do quick audio edits and some cool stuff. Now, again, we're making a commercial. So I'm also going to save this file. Whoa, what happened there? That's weird. Okay, anyway, I'm going to save this file as the actual audio content, like the actual episode. And then I'm going to start chopping it up and I'm going to open up a new window to start building the actual commercial. All right. Now, Cameron is stereo. Mine is mono. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to split his. And I'm going to get rid of the second track and I'm going to play back just a little bit of it. Good morning, podcast. Let's get in there.
You don't have to go to a physical building. I get that. Oh.
But I think the way the Apostles' Creed puts it, in that we believe in the communion of saints, is pretty helpful.
Okay, so that audio is good as is. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to save this project like that. And I am actually going to save it in content recordings. I'm not going to save it in the actual mix recordings because you're going to see once I get to the end of this video. And I'm going to name this EP1, a church is a place you go. Okay, now while that's saving, during the actual recording, I took a lot of notes on what Cameron was saying. And I like a very neat part of what he said, and it's toward the end of the episode. At mile marker, I'm gonna call them mile markers, or time marker 55:30 to 57. During that time frame, he said some very powerful stuff. Now, usually, this is a different style of episodes this season because it's actually authors that are publishing a journal pretty soon, and I'm interviewing them on their actual articles before we print the journal. So I didn't do much talking other than asking the questions. So we're going to listen around a little bit, and I'm going to show you how to cut, splice, and all that fun stuff and get your commercial. Again, your commercial needs to be or should be anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. And the reason why we go within that time frame is because I like to stay within the parameters of how long can Instagram allow a video to play, and that is a minute. If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember what Twitter is, but we're going to find out in the Headliner app. And then Snapchat's only 15 seconds, and then the story on Facebook is also 15 seconds. So you want to stay within that minute mark, especially for Instagram, because when people are flipping through and they come across the picture, they think it's just a picture. If they happen to stop and hit play, they'll notice it's an actual audiogram. So I'm going to zoom in, and in order to zoom in on the Audacity side is you want to, there is a plus sign, this little thing right here, or you can hit on the keyboard Command 1, and it'll zoom you in as close as you want to get and as precise as you want to get. Now, again, I already know that I'm toward the end of this episode to where I want to snip what he said. So, again, I think it was 55:30 where he started talking. So we're going to go there. We're going to play it from about here.
Saying God, as the head of his kingdom, has given us laws. And so what that means is if the Bible teaches we should not disassociate from the corporate gathering of God's people, we are under obligation to do so out of expression of love and obedience to our God. So it's important just on that aspect. But God doesn't, again, just give us rules for the sake of having rules or be petty. He does it for our benefit. So for Christians to partake in the body of Christ,
so just kind of listen for the area that you want.
One is we actually hear the gospel week in and week out, or we should, if the pastors are doing their job. we hear reminders about what Jesus has done for us and what that means for our lives now. So, for instance, I know people in my congregation who struggle to believe that God could love them because of how sinful they are. These are Christians. And one of the effects of remaining sin in the Christian's life is we become forgetful of the gospel message. We forget about the truth of what that means for us daily and regularly. So one of the greatest benefits of corporate worship, of gathering together as God's people, is to be reminded that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. That while we were in our transgressions and sins, God demonstrated his great love for us, that Christ died.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen right in here.
Daily and regularly.
Okay.
For us, daily and regularly.
Let's go back.
Message. We forget about the truth of what that means for us daily and regularly.
Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more because I want to be precise. Let's see. Let's try it here.
Who struggle to believe that God could love them because of how sinful they are. These are Christians. And one of the effects of remaining sin in the Christian's life is we become forgetful of the gospel message. We forget about the truth.
Okay, now I'm going to play it right here. Watch.
Forgetful of the...
Let's see.
Forgetful. Become forgetful. We become forgetful.
Okay, so right in there where he says we is where I want to start my splice. So I'm going to zoom in because I want to get precise. All right. Okay, so I'm going to keep it there, and I'm actually going to go to edit, and I'm going to go to clip boundaries, and I'm going to hit split, and I'm just going to leave that split there, and I'm going to let it play, and then I'm going to cut out what I do want. So let's continue.
We become forgetful of the gospel message. We forget about the truth of what that means for us daily and regularly. So one of the greatest benefits of corporate worship, of gathering together as God's people, is to be reminded that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us.
Okay. Now what I can do, and I actually did not write out my script for this commercial, is I can stop it right when he talks about, I can stop it at God's people. And go from there. So if you'll excuse me, I'm going to actually record the script to the commercial just to get a feel of how I want to build this episode. And that'll actually show you, once you get your foundation going, you can build it and reorganize it any way you can. Making a commercial or a trailer audio is easier than making a video trailer. Just saying. I'll be right back in a New York second.